Trust me, nobody is more disappointed than the players. They wanted this more than us. It benefits them more than us. That's the reality. Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining or listening to us from. My name is AyoT, and this is the Naija FC Podcast. As always, I have my co-host with me.
Layi, thanks for joining.
Yes, thank you very much, guys, for joining in again. We have come to the end of the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations. A fantastic tournament has come and has gone, and now it's time for reflections. It's time for introspection, and it's time to look at the ways that we can move forward. Unfortunately, it didn't end in glory for Nigeria and for the Super Eagles. After a fantastic tournament run all the way to the final, we unfortunately fell at the final hurdle, losing 2-1 against the host nation Cote d'Ivoire in the final in Abidjan. And unfortunately, our players had to watch as the Ivorians danced and celebrated, and lifted that AFCON trophy. But like some Nigerians said, the trophy not even fine like that. So we'll be all right at the end of the day. This match, we never expected it to be easy. We never expected it to be, a walk in the park for us. But we believe that based on the showing that the boys had showed towards, throughout the tournament leading up to that game, we thought that would be able to overcome them. Smith Layi, let me just quickly do a little bit of a rundown of the game before we get into some of the nitty-gritty. So for anybody that may not have seen the match, from the very first minute of the game, if we're being honest, Ivory Coast were on the front foot. They started applying pressure on us. The biggest thing that we couldn't do in that moment was keep possession. We couldn't keep the ball at all. We kept on losing the ball, giving away unnecessary passes, and then Ivory Coast were coming back at us. Another thing that happened was that we were fouling a lot in the beginning of that game. Consistent fouling. And while some people might say the referee was not being fair, or the referee was not giving the fouls on the opposite side when the Ivorian players were the ones committing or doing those acts, our consistent fouling was causing issues for us. It was obviously breaking play for us, and it was also giving Ivory Coast set piece opportunities to whip crosses into our box, and opportunities to just, try to score a goal. Another thing that I will notice is that Simon Adingra, who I had been pointed as my player to watch in the previous episode, he came to the party. He came energized, ready to put his country on his back, ready to make his country proud, and his quality definitely showed in that game. He ended up getting the 2 assists for the 2 Ivorian goals. Sanusi Zedu, back in the squad for this match. He didn't have a terrible game, but he still had a few shaky moments. Most especially with the headed back pass that he was trying to play that almost led to an Ivorian opportunity. And I think that, that's one of the areas that he can clean up his game a little bit, just in terms of his concentration and his decision making, both in offense and defense. We're also letting them to have the ball, which was allowing them to get shots off. Fofana had a few shots. Seri had a few shots. Nwabali was up to the task for most of them. But at the same time, when you allow your opponent to just keep coming at you, taking shots, whipping crosses in, it gives them more and more confidence as the game goes on. Thankfully, we're able to get the first goal of the game with our only real opportunity that we had seen in the entire first half. It was from a corner kick, a good cross by Mola Lukman and Captain Trust Ekong. After the ball had ricocheted a little bit, Ekong headed it in. A good header by Ekong, we must give him credit for that. But in the second half, again, same thing happened. We allowed Ivory Coast to keep coming at us. Even before they scored their equalizer, they had about 2 chances that, frankly speaking, they should have taken. But they didn't. And when the equalizer came through Frank Kessié from their own corner kick, it wasn't a surprise to me. I do think Nwabali should have done better in that moment. He came off his line and then he started retreating, trying to go back. And we all know this. You don't have to be a footballer to know this. When you're a goalkeeper, the moment you come off your line from a set piece like that, you must get the ball. You cannot run halfway and then start to run back. And that's exactly what Nwabali did. And I think if he was on his line, he most likely would have saved that header because it wasn't like a powerful header. It was well placed, but it wasn't a powerful header. And I think that indecision was what cost him for that opening goal. And the sad part for me is that even after Ivory Coast had threatened and eventually got their equalizer, we still just allowed them to have the ball. No press when they're in possession, but just allowing them to pass the ball around. And then eventually, they got their second goal. Simon Adingra beat Olaino on the left-hand side, Nigeria's right-hand side, whipped in a cross, and then Sebastian Haller, in that moment, wanted it more than William Troost-Ekong and put his foot forward, got in front of Ekong, straight out his leg, and then they scored their second goal. After their second goal is when the Super Eagles now woke up. The coach made changes, switched to a 4-4-2, and then tried to take the game to them. But unfortunately, it was too little, too late, and the final whistle went. We ended up losing that game 2-1. So that's kind of like my summary of how the game went. Smith Layi, for you in that game, what do you think we did wrong? That cost us to lose that match against Ivory Coast.
I think we played to Ivory Coast, and it was evident in the post-match of their manager. He said that he saw a Super Eagle that they're not themselves. They are very tired and fatigued. So, and I think that if there was, if we had enough solid bench to refreshing the squad more, I think that the story would be different. But for me, I think that we did some very silly mistakes in that game. We failed to put pressure on the ball. Yeah, really highlighted because it was not putting pressure on the ball. That was why Kosunu could shoot from that distance and our keeper parried the ball out. The corner led to the equalizer. So, we're just, misplaced passes. For example, in the midfield, no pressure, allowing no misplaced passes to Alex Iwobi, who had to chase the ball, the counter again. Don't just sustain, and you can't just sustain the ball. You can't just hold on to the ball and dominate them. For example, now, like, we're trying to find the equalizer. Olaino was holding the ball. There was no danger. Just pass the ball to sideways. Adinga took the ball, had to drag Adinga down. Like so many these guys are just fatigued. They don't have any answer to the Ivorians. And kudos to Ivorians. The Ivorians fought like elephant. They fought like with their half 20 lives. They did what they could. But I just think that on a normal day, we should be winning this game. But I won't fault the coach tactics. I have to be honest with you. But I just think that he was under pressure slightly. When I also think that from the start too, starting Samuel Chukwueze, I think if you had a second chance now, you would have not do that. So basic things like that, I remember too when the second goal conceded, it was Kelechi Iheanacho that was meant to help Olaino, in that position. And we all know that Kelechi Iheanacho is not really good defensively. So things didn't just work in place for Nigeria. Things didn't just come together. That's what really should have happened that day.
I mean, very well said. Unfortunately, we chose the biggest game, to not have our best game. And it ended up not working in our favor. I'll just say quickly, let us give kudos to William Troost-Ekong. Throughout this tournament, he put the team on his back. He had been playing with a knock from I think the second game of the tournament. Like, he had been playing with a knock, and he was still able to get the goal for us. And also in the game, at the moment when Nwabali wanted to fight somebody, Osimhen wanted to fight somebody, Ekong was still showing his leadership and calming the boys down. Everybody was telling Nwabali, like, guy, what did they do you now? We're winning. No need for you to be getting into all this. And I just have to appreciate the leadership that he showed throughout the tournament. I think players like Calvin Bassey, they gave everything, even in that game against Ivory Coast. Bassey tried his best. And for me, I would say, let's apologize to Victor Osimhen. Because in that game against Ivory Coast, we just turned Victor Osimhen to a passenger. Barely giving him any touches of the ball. Most passes attempted to Osimhen in that game were from Nwabali. You can imagine that, like, the most passes attempted to Osimhen in that game were from Stanley Nwabali. Long ball from the goal, and Osimhen has to be fighting for the ball in the air. He didn't really have opportunities to really do anything. In the whole match, the Super Eagles only had 5 shots and 1 shot on target. The shot on target was, of course, the goal that we scored. So it just was not really a good day for us. And, as much as we had bantered people, we had spoken, we had bragged, our fans had made noise, it was only right that the tables turned and the matter came towards our way. If you look at the statistics in that game, the Super Eagles had 249 pass attempts throughout the match. Ivory Coast had 410 pass attempts.
Mm.
So the level was just different. And again, I mentioned Simon Adingra. He was amazing throughout that match. He attempted, let me see, I remember he had 6 chances created in that match, Simon Adingra. He attempted 9 dribbles and he committed 5 of them. So he was really a thorn in the side of Olajuwon, most especially in that game. And again, the coach tried in the second half, tried to make some changes to help us get back in the side. He brought on Alassane Yusuf, but unfortunately, it didn't change anything, the way we were playing, the kind of respect that we were paying Ivory Coast, it was just a little bit too little, too late. I would say give credit to Sebastian Haller on the Ivorian side. We all know his story. He has come back from a lot, to play in this game, to score a goal. We have to give him his credits. And then, of course, the rest of the Ivorian team, the Ivorian coach, he masterminded a fantastic come back from dead performance in this tournament and a fantastic come from behind win again in this final. But yes, let me ask, overall, how would you rate the performance of the Super Eagles at this AFCON?
For me, I think we actually would overachieve. And I actually would have my reasons. No Nigerian here. I think we come and just tell you directly that the Super Eagles will play in the final. After not beating Lesotho and Zimbabwe in the World Cup qualifiers, after losing 2-0 to Guinea in the pre-AFCON friendly, after crashing out in the second round of the last AFCON, failing to qualify for the World Cup. We lost nearly all our friendly games. We were 3-2 against Mozambique. It's hard for you to see the positives, but someone will tell you that, okay, we're going to be in the final of this AFCON. I think that, you will take it. So for me, I think we actually performed well. And as you have mentioned before too, some players stood out. But for me, in that tournament too, I won't just single out. I won't just really just praise one player. I think most of it actually was a collective effort. For example, now the chemistry, the defense line really worked well for Nigeria. The communication between Calvin Bassey, Semi Ajayi, and William Troost-Ekong, worked well for Nigeria. I think that overall, these guys actually did well. I think they punched above their weight. I think they did well and they performed well. I think we should not be sad of losing to Ivory Coast in the final. I think that what should be focused on in how to go to Morocco and take gold in Casablanca. So for me, those guys did well, but I don't want to single out some players. But those that think that they didn't do well, they know this is for them to work on themselves and know how to come back stronger. That is it.
Well said. And I think for me, I want to pinpoint one player because this player has been on the receiving end of a lot of backlash, a lot of abuse, undeserved abuse on social media and beyond since the tournament ended for us after the game against Ivory Coast. I'm talking about Alex Iwobi. I think Iwobi started this competition already at a disadvantage. Why? He was playing in a role that was not his natural role, is not his preferred role. But of course, he wanted to give whatever he can give to help the team to advance. And things were going well, frankly. Things were going quite well. I thought, other than the first game and the last game, I thought he had pretty good matches for us. His role, his job was to maintain possession and advance the play. Some people will say, oh, Iwobi did not pass the ball forward enough, did not create enough opportunities. And I'm like, we were obviously playing for our wingers to be the creative outlets in the game. But when you still look at the underlying statistics, Iwobi had the most through passes into the final third of all the Super Eagles players throughout this tournament. But the untrained eye might not notice the way he's starting plays for us, and they might think, oh, what's he doing? Some people said, oh, he doesn't carry the ball forward for us. When he gets possession, he just passes it sideways. He doesn't carry the ball forward. Iwobi had second most ball carries into the final third for the Super Eagles throughout this tournament. Number one was Olajuwon, who was playing as a wing back. So it makes sense that Olajuwon would be moving the ball forward into the final third from the wing. Iwobi had the second most of all the Super Eagles players in this game, rather in this tournament. So when you look at those statistics, and even if you go further into the chances created, statistics, things like that, Iwobi ranks high in almost all of them. The only thing that Iwobi did not do well in this tournament is defend. And the reality is that nobody believes that Iwobi is a good defensive player.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, you play him in a two-man midfield, he will try and he will have to defend at some point. I think that football positions and roles in today's world the lines have been blurred so much that people think, okay, because a player is deep, that player is playing as a defensive midfielder. And that's what I was saying earlier today as well when I was talking on another platform. Iwobi was not playing as a defensive midfielder. He was playing as a deep line playmaker. Ultimately, the position, quote unquote, you'll probably call it defensive midfield because it's deep behind the center circle. But the role that he was playing was not as a ball winner. The ball winner on that team was Frank Onyeka. He was the one that was trying to get the ball back for us, make interceptions. And the funniest part of it is that if you look at the interceptions in the opponent's third of the field, or in the opponent's half of the field, Frank Onyeka ranked number 1 for the Super Eagles. Guess who ranked number 2? Alex Iwobi. So even in the defensive side of the game, he was still doing his best and was still trying to help Nigeria. Unfortunately, when he got to the game against Ivory Coast, that the Super Eagles were soaking up so much pressure and allowing Ivory Coast to come at them. We barely got a break in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Iwobi's defensive frailties were exposed a little bit more. But for people to now use that as a reason to now start bashing him, oh, he's not even the coach has this, it's not that. People say he should not come back. Some people say no, he does not deserve a call up into the national team. Blah blah blah. I don't want to name names. I'm not in the business of dragging anybody. But even people with platforms, with big platforms, far bigger than my platform, at least at the moment, that are just saying all these unnecessary things about him. And then for fans to now go and abuse, I just think it's sad, it's unfair. And I put something out on social media earlier today that fans complain when footballers are closed off. They disable all their comments. They don't try to talk to fans. They don't do interviews. They don't do those things. Fans will still say, this one, he thinks he's a big boy. He does not even connect with us. He's this, is that. And then those same fans, quote unquote, are the ones that will go and bully players and abuse them online, and force them to disable their comments, to not engage. Because at the end of the day, some people will say, oh, you're a footballer, you should know how to deal with all these things. And I'm like, there's no, anybody, if all of a sudden 1,000 people are insulting me on my page, why won't I disable my comments too? It's like, let's be realistic. Anybody, like, why would I just want to keep on receiving your abuse and say, oh, I'm a footballer, so yes, I'll let them abuse me? I'll disable my own comments too. I won't allow you to be able to engage. I'll allow those that are my friends to engage, and then the rest of you can find your square root. And then when players now stop to care about these things, we complain. I remember the same thing happened to our skipper at the tournament, William Trustekong. He was very engaging. He created a YouTube channel. He was engaging with us, creating content, putting it out there. I thought it was fantastic. He had a few bad games. He's just focused on social media. He does not practice anymore. He does not train. Some people start insulting him. That is this, is that, is that. That he stopped the whole thing. Now, where are we getting that kind of content from? Nowhere. NFF no go produce that content, so we already know that. So yeah, I'll just implore everybody, if you want to criticize, fine. If you have your opinions and you want to share them, fine. But we should always maintain that respect. Even if you want to let off jokes, let your jokes be respectful. Because at the end of the day, no matter what we say, there's a human being on the other end of it. Some people say, oh, but they're making so much money, blah, blah, blah. And that thing makes me laugh. Like, why are you so concerned about how much money somebody else makes? That you feel that that's now justification to go and insult the person. In your own field, no matter how much or how little you make, there are some people that are not saying up to half of what you're making or up to quarter. Should those people also come and insult you and say, oh, but your job is paying you 100K? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Oh, some people can, even if you are making 30K, some people are not saying 30K. So should the ones not saying 30K come and be insulting you at your job? They are paying you 30K every month. You cannot even produce this, you cannot produce that. So I think we just have to be human. We have to be reasonable. And we have to be conscious of these things that we are doing. So I just wanted to mention that to say, Alex Iwobi, sending all the love to you, the rest of the Super Eagles players as well. Yes, we're disappointed. We're not happy with the results. But again, trust me, nobody is more disappointed than the players. They wanted this more than us. It benefits them more than us. That's the reality. So there is no reason for them to not go there and try their hardest. They tried their best. Unfortunately, on the day, their best wasn't enough. And we lost to the better side. And just like in life, it's football. We have to be able to accept it. But yeah, Smith Layi, do you have anything to just say about this whole drama that ensued after the AFCON final?
Thank you for these things, for bringing it up. We should condemn this. To be honest with you, this is not acceptable, and this is not how we should treat ourselves. Not talk about treating those that are fighting for the country. The moment you step on the pitch, you put your life on the line for this country, and I'm pretty sure that Samuel Okparaji that went on the pitch in 1989 against Angola, he never knew that it's not going to come back. So when you step on the pitch, you are putting your life for the country. When you travel from your base, you travel through aircrafts to go and honor the country. You're also putting your life on the line for the country. Because when you are traveling, you forget everything you have. You forget it. We all know of someone that just died in the country. It was so healthy, everything, living in the country. But before you know it, coming back in a different form. So anytime you do this thing, is for the country. So, and I think that we should accept it. We should be able to accept these players and stop cyberbullying. I'm not surprised that this thing happened. But I thought that this 2024 we should have changed. See, Nigeria have the history of doing this. Anytime there's a failure, there's always a scapegoat. Why can't we just stand up and take responsibility? If not because of social media. See, it has been happening before. In 2000, they nearly killed Kanu because he lost penalty. They nearly killed Pepper because he put hand on his head. We did not forgive him. We went to Mali 2002. Uruma lost penalty against Senegal. Because Uruma lost penalty against Senegal, that was likely the end of Uruma's international career with Nigeria. It was blame and blame and blame and blame. And Sonny Kaita got a red card in 2010 World Cup. In fact, that was likely the end of his career in the national team. So anytime there's a failure, we always bring a scapegoat. Look at the last World Cup, the Russian World Cup. What's it called? It was Igalo. The abuse was too much. What's it called? Look at failure to qualify for the World Cup. It was Osimhen and Uzo. Why can't we just Maduka Okoye now? Cannot even come and play for the national team. I saw him play today. He kept a clean sheet in Turin. Man of the match performance. Because the border was not his fault. People abuse. The whole thing destroyed a promising career. Why can't we just change? And the problem is that it's not just faceless people doing this thing. There are prominent people promoting these bad messages.
People with millions of followers.
Yes. If it's faceless now, we know that they are the men of the underworld. But these are prominent people being echoed by some people that call themselves something. I don't want to mention their name. Now they went to go and because mouth too much, they went to go and be deleting it now, deleting it. So, we should change because mental health is big. We know players that had mental health issue and never recovered. We don't want to start mentioning them. They just go into depression, that is all. So, please, this Alex Iwobi is scored the goal that took Nigeria to the World Cup in Russia.
Yeah.
He's a player that's, from his youth days, he committed to Nigeria. His first official game was in Kaduna. He did not say he regretted saying it's not going to Kaduna. He went there to play for Nigeria. So we should not use this thing to pay him back. It's not good. One, is it his fault? It's not his fault. I'm pretty sure if you call Alex Iwobi and ask him, will you prefer to play a position? He will say no. But he needs to play for Nigeria. Undidi injured. Nobody, so he needs to play the role for Nigeria. It's for the good of the team. I'm pretty sure now, if Nigeria, if we won the AFCON, we will not be calling out Iwobi. But the problem is that the pain. That is what they were using to. And the issue is this. All these people you see, they make mistakes too. These people that are calling people out, they make mistakes in their walk of life. Most of them are, scandals from every corner. But we don't come here to come and debate there. We know that it could be a mistake. So, if you have privilege of being popular, use it for the good reason. Use it for the benefit of the people. Don't use it to cause, mental health issue on others. Because at the end of the day, Iwobi's got family too. And this guy is going to 100 caps for Nigeria. So, please, for example now, Musa will not kick any ball. Did anybody blame him? He don't kick any ball now. Nobody will come and abuse Musa and say, Musa. Nobody. But person will kick ball when they play every game. So, please, I'll just use this medium to tell you will be that it's only 0.00001% of irresponsible people that are actually causing all this division. We are fully behind you. We love you. We support you. You are our player, you are our son, and we want you to do well. Don't worry, Morocco 2025, you are coming back, we are coming back stronger. And we are winning this AFCON, the next AFCON in Morocco. So those that are spreading false messages, they should go and bury their head in shame. We trust you, Alex Iwobi, and we want the best for you. Thank you.
Well said. Well said. Thank you very much for that, Smith Layi. And I guess just to round off this episode, like I mentioned, unfortunately we lost the game, so it's a moment of reflection and introspection for us. A few things that have already been circulating a little bit in the media. We've heard reports that a few players are planning to retire, and some are considering retirement. Smith Layi, considering the fact that the next AFCON is so close, is next summer,
Mm-hmm.
do you think there's need for players to be retiring now? Because between now and next year, how much are you going to have changed? If you can play now, you probably can still play next year. So do you think it's fair for players to be considering retirement?
The things can change. I can tell you, 1 year is a long period. Some of them have families too. They have plans too. Don't forget that it's in summer too. Some of them want to just leave this football team and enjoy their life. For example, now footballers they hardly have summer, off. All of them normally actually want to go, go for one international engagement or the other. For example, now Nigeria play against South Africa in the World Cup qualifier this summer again, this June. And after the game, I think the players might probably go on holidays, but it's not as having the whole full day. So I understand those that want to retire, but what I can say basically is this: if Jose Peseiro will continue, we also need some fresh legs in this team, and I will tell you the reason why. Part of the reason why we did not win this AFCON is not because of the formation; it's because of those that can play that formation. We don't really have them in abundance. That is it. It's not. If, for example, now, when you bring in Olaino, if you say Olaino played nearly every minute of games. It's too much. If you just bring him in, you've also you're trying to do online now. You are bringing the same type of player that will give the same thing like online. You will not see any drop in quality. I will be happy now. Online would have maybe sat out maybe 75 minutes, of some games, or even be on the bench, just to rest. So we need fresh legs. For example, now, so I think that if some people are considering retirement, if they think that they've had enough, that is fine. The person I don't want him to retire now is the best player of the tournament. I think, I really admire his leadership quality, and this is like Stephen Keshi, the late coach Stephen Keshi. The way he marshaled, the way he talked to his mates, the way he's so patriotic, the way he put his life on the line for the country. I've criticized him in the past, but I'm using this medium now to apologize to William Paul Ekong. I don't know. So to apologize. This guy is like a soldier. And even if Ekong retire tomorrow, it should not be far off from national team. I can tell you, this guy is a commander. This guy reminds us of like the legendary Christian Chuku, the chairman himself. This is type of performance you give that you become a legend in Nigeria. And like I will tell you, if mentioning names of people that have played well for Nigeria at the AFCON, if you are mentioning these defenders, I don't think William Eko should be far off. So he's the one I'm begging not to retire. But someone that I don't want to mention him, someone that we're expecting to retire, to type a message. He said that we should give them next chance, we perform well. When is the next opportunity? Because when I saw the message from the post, I was like, okay, don't retire. I was trying to go to the end. That thank you guys for your support, for supporting me. I hang my boot at this point. I did see that, so say we'll come back stronger. Well, no, I'm just
okay. So like, let me ask you this other question before we end. You already kind of hinted at it, saying if Jose Peseiro is to continue, in your opinion, do you think he should continue?
He should. See, the issue with Nigerians is that when you are full, you'll be looking for something to puncture your stomach. And if you are not full, you'll be complaining that you are hungry. See, this team failed to qualify for the World Cup. We forgot that. See, we narrowly qualified for the World Cup playoff. We nearly lost to Cape Verde in Lagos. If not because that block shot of Ndidi, we won't be at the World Cup playoff. We crashed out in the second round of the last, of the last AFCON. Now, someone just galvanized, he put the talents together, managed them. We were in the final. We beat a team that beat Morocco. We know football is not mathematics. So, we should appreciate what this man did. That is why, Nigerians, it's so hard to please Nigerians. It's hard. One of the most difficult people. You so hard to please us. Because at the end of the day, you ask ourselves, what do we want? Even ourselves, we don't even know what we want. All we want is just to cause trouble. We don't even know what we want. See, this man performed well. This man now knows this team now, at least small. If not because of lack of rotation in this team, I can tell you that this team will be African champions. Honestly. So, I think, in my opinion, this man should continue. Let him just continue with what he actually started. See, formation is not bad. This is the same formation with Alonso, but with different personnel. For example, now, Palacios and Xhaka. Is it Xhaka in Leverkusen? Do any of our players have the profile of those midfielders? Xhaka and Palacios in the Leverkusen midfield? No. The person that can mark very well in our midfield cannot pass the ball. Someone that can pass the ball cannot mark. So, we need the right profile of players to play in this formation, to make it function. See, if we get the right profile of players to play in this formation with the players we have in some pockets of we'll be unbeatable. It should continue.
And I will say I agree with you. I think he should continue. We have this culture of cutting people short before they are able to fully complete the job that they have been assigned to do. Yes, we wanted him to win this AFCON. He got very close. I think it is only fair that we allow him to continue the job that he has started. Let him take us through the World Cup qualifiers. Let's see how that goes. If we qualify, if we do well through that phase, we have the AFCON coming up in the summer of next year as well. Let him take us to the AFCON and let him try again. If he then disappoints us, then I can understand conversation for finding somebody else. But based off of the job that he has done so far, unfortunately his contract is over, so it's a matter of renewal or not. But if they don't renew his contract, I think it will be very, very unfair because he has done a good job. And then if they bring in a new coach, regardless of the coach, whether it's Biamunike or anybody else that we're hearing, it will be for the person to now go back to the drawing board and then start all over again. And this job is not an easy job. No matter who you are, it's not an easy job. So I think they should allow the coach continue building what he's building. Let us see how far it takes us. We've already done much better, like you referenced. We've done much better than we did the last time. We've improved from the kind of results we were getting before. So let us see how far he can take us. And then we can decide after that. So yeah, that is my thoughts on the whole situation. Of course, we have games coming up, friendlies in March, possibly. We're still trying to figure out exactly what's going on there. And then we have in June the World Cup qualifiers. Hopefully the Super Eagles can bounce back. For now, the players are going to fly back to their clubs, resume the season with their clubs. Iheanacho is chasing a championship title and promotion. Boniface unfortunately got injured, but he's chasing a league title, in Germany. He's going to be back, in another month or 2 months, and the rest of our players are also doing well. Ekong is having a fantastic season with PAOK. They are fighting for the league title. They are also in the conference league. Shemi Ajayi's West Brom too. They're trying to fight, in the championship. Calvin Bassey's Fulham trying to put in a good shift in the Premier League as well. Alex Iwobi plays for Fulham also. Olaino has to go and battle relegation, but hopefully can keep his side up with Nottingham Forest. So, wishing all the players the best. The AFCON has come and unfortunately has gone. We wish we ended up with the trophy, but there is so much more football to come. I want to say also a thank you to everyone that has rocked with us throughout this tournament, that has listened, that has watched the podcast. Please make sure you continue to share with your friends. Make sure you continue to comment, engage with us. Let us know what you want us to talk about. Let us know if you agree with our opinions, if you disagree. I love the engagement, and that's why I always respond. Smith Layi, any final word before we go?
So I just want to thank those that have been there, with us in the Saturdays AFCON, from the countdown to the AFCON podcast, match reviews, predictions. Some of our predictions did not come, so I would have been trending now, but unfortunately, the Nigerian winning the title did not materialize. So, but we enjoyed it. Like I said, see, Jose Mourinho can testify to this. He said he stopped watching the European football. He's watching African Cup of Nations because this is where the football lies. This is where the football lies. So, and I'm happy that the next one is going to be next year. I beg, Caf, can we have this thing every year? Because this is like Christmas. Now, this is like Christmas, and we are really enjoying it. In fact, we are really, really enjoying it. It's like, coming together, playing our best football. We don't want this thing to finish, I beg. Please, Caf, every year is better. So I want to appreciate all of our listeners too, the comments too. I appreciate you. Don't forget that we still have a lot of football this year. We have the Olympic Games coming up. We have the Under-17 Women's World Cup, Under-20 Women's World Cup coming up. We have the CHAN coming up, World Cup qualifiers coming up. We have Nations Cup qualifiers too coming up. We have the Olympic qualifiers for female too coming up in 10 days. So you're still gonna see us. So don't worry, we're gonna serve you better. Don't forget to just keep on sharing the video with your friends. We are here for you. Thank you.
And for those of you on YouTube, please make sure you comment, make sure you share the video. Our views have dropped in the last 2 episodes. We're not letting that discourage us. We're going to keep going. But you guys, we're calling on you, our community, to help us get those views back up. Share the video with your family in your different WhatsApp groups, the different forums that you're in, and let us make sure that the whole world gets to enjoy this Niger flavored content. It's been a pleasure. As always, I'm your host, AyoT, and with me is my reliable co-host.
Smith Layi. Thanks for joining.
Thank you guys. Bye bye.